Welcome back to my channel at The Movie Optimist, where I try and find the silver linings in even the worst of films. I had a bunch of people ask me after my Superman trailer reaction why I had not reacted to the Ironheart trailer that also released last week. And look, at the end of the day, I call myself the movie optimist. I try to be optimistic about absolutely everything, even in the worst of films and the worst of TV. And I sat down, I turned my camera on, and I started doing my reaction for Ironheart, and I realized that I wasn't vibing with the trailer. I really just didn't like it, and rather than sit there and pick it apart for 10 minutes like I normally would in any of these videos, I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do that. But then I had enough people ask me about my thoughts, so rather than do a full trailer reaction, I decided to just make this video really quick and kind of discuss why I don't like it and why I didn't do the reaction. So while I was watching this trailer, I learned something about why it took so long to get this trailer, because they filmed this project like 3 years ago, and I think that Marvel understands that this is going to be a very divisive project for a couple different reasons. But what they had, an ace up their sleeve if you will, is the fact that Ryan Coogler had a big hand in helping get this project off the ground. So what they did was they strategically waited until Sinners came out, Ryan Coogler's masterpiece of a film, so that the world could see that film, get excited about the next Ryan Coogler project, and then boom, a couple weeks later they dropped the Ironheart trailer, and the first thing you see all over the place is that Ryan Coogler's hands are all over this project, hoping that that will make people want to tune in to watch it as Ryan Coogler's next thing. And it's a genius business decision to do that, because I'm sure there are a lot of people that watch Sinners and they were all jazzed up about how awesome it was, and now they're going to want to tune into this show even if they don't really necessarily care about Riri Williams as a character. So I'm sitting here watching this with that same guise on of, yeah, Ryan Coogler just knocked it out of the park with Sinners. I can't wait to see what he does next. And I'm watching the trailer and I can't help but feel like this is Marvel's desperate attempt to fill the void of Iron Man. Iron Man, Tony Stark, was the heart and soul next to Steve Rogers for the MCU, and we have lost both of them moving forward. And although we've had some great characters like Shang-Chi, we still have Spider-Man obviously, we now have the New Avengers or the Thunderbolts, there isn't really a heart and soul to connect all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I'm not saying that Marvel's trying to push Riri Williams into that role, but the fact that it's such a derivative character from Iron Man at least feels to me like they're trying to use her to fill that void of Iron Man. Now, I don't read the comics, so I don't know how cool of a character Riri Williams is, and from what I hear from a lot of people, she is an awesome character, and she is completely different from Tony Stark. But the thing that made the MCU work for so long is not that they're trying to make movies to appease the comic book fans. Of course, they want the comic book fans to show up and watch the movies and appreciate them, but the reason why Marvel is a billion-dollar grossing franchise is because they made these movies appealing to everybody, comic book fans and non-comic book fans. And they've done it successfully for the last 10 years. However, in watching this trailer, the only thing I thought about the whole time was, this is Iron Man 2.0. It's a girl that is a super genius, like Tony Stark, making a suit of armor, like Tony Stark, that she flies around with, jets that come out of her hands, like Tony Stark, and she shoots missiles out of her hands, like Tony Stark. And it all just felt like, hey everybody, we know you miss Tony Stark, Iron Man, he's not here anymore, but here's Riri Williams, that's exactly the same. And again, I have a lot of people saying that she's completely different, but the trailer did not do a good job at establishing her as somebody completely different. It opens up with this getaway-like sequence in an elevator, and I thought that that was inventive, but everything else just felt like I was watching Iron Man 2.0, and I don't care about derivative characters. I don't want to see Iron Man 2.0, just like I don't want to see a Superboy. I don't want to see a Batboy, and I'm not saying those are bad characters. I'm not saying if you like those characters, you're wrong. It's totally fine. I just prefer the originals. That's what I want. I don't like the spin-off characters that come on to take the mantle for the iconic characters. I don't need an Iron Man 2.0. What I want is for you to give me somebody as complex as Tony Stark for me to get behind and root for. I don't need somebody in a suit of armor. I don't need Iron Man. I need somebody that's as intriguing of a character for you to introduce me to, that's a new hero I haven't experienced before, that I can get behind and believe they're going to be the heart and soul of the MCU. I believe that could be Yelena in the Thunderbolts because she's so relatable. The fact that she's so vulnerable and talks about grief and depression and regret and feeling so alone, those are all things that people like us, human beings going through day-to-day lives, have felt before, and I can get behind behind that. Tony Stark was a complex character. Sure, he was a billionaire playboy philanthropist that was able to create a suit of armor, but he was also really relatable, and that point got across in the first Iron Man trailer, which made me want to show up to see it. Nothing about this Ironheart trailer has me interested in seeing it. Now, I'm gonna watch this show because I'm the movie optimist, and I try to watch literally everything, and I'm always gonna give them a chance to prove me wrong. But yeah, I don't think they did a good job. Again, I'm not interested in spin-off 2.0 versions of the characters that I know and love. Just give me something new. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are you excited to see this show? Did the trailer work for you? Maybe you watched it and you loved it and you're thinking to yourself, damn, this guy's a prick. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not a comic book reader. He shouldn't be saying any of this about her. And you're not wrong. I shouldn't. I'm not a comic book reader. But again, it's up to Marvel to convince the non-comic book readers why we should show up to watch this. And I just don't think it did. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And as always, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you next time.